Aloha YouTube. How is everybody doing today? My name is David Yansen. Welcome to my channel. Today is September 11th, 2020, and it was September 11th, 2001 when the New York trade towers were attacked by terrorists. And as I mentioned in my Robinhood video, I was at work. I watched the second plane go into the second tower live on television. And so this is always a day just like World War II on the attack of Pearl Harbor. I live in Honolulu here, probably 7-8 minutes away from Pearl Harbor. Um, it's just something that you'll never forget. Um, you want to be thankful for all the first responders that rushed there to the trade towers. My dad was working in the city when the towers were hit, and mass transportation was completely stopped. If you haven't been to New York City, or you have, you know that the city runs on the subways and buses, and now Uber and Lyft, but still heavy buses and trains. And my dad said he had to walk all the way from Manhattan all the way back to Brooklyn where he was living, and it took him basically the rest of the day. So it was like 5 or 6 hours for him to walk all the way back there because everything was stopped. So the only way to get around at that point was by walking. So, and there was no Uber and Lyft back then; it was just taxis. But nobody was allowed to get in and out of the city, as it was just complete chaos as the towers continued to crumble and fall, and people stood in awe and were running around, and first responders were all over the place. It was just chaos on that day. So, and for the next few months, it slowed down the U.S., but they did not break our spirit, and they did not deter us from traveling, and they did not make us live in fear, which was probably the goal there. So anyway, let's look at my M1 Finance portfolio. This is my Roth IRA side that we are looking at right now. I am using a Chromebook. I'm going to see how my videos look a little bit differently versus doing it on my phone or doing it through the web page, through the website. I just put the app on my Chromebook here, and so that's how I'm going to kind of do my videos now. Let me know what you think about it. So M1 Finance is my main investing brokerage that I use. I have two accounts with them. This is my Roth IRA. I have over $11,000 between my Roth and my individual account, $4,900 in the individual and $6,300 with the Roth. So my capital gains are good. As you can see, my Roth IRA all time is up over 16.5%, over $440. But in full disclosure, this full 6,300 isn't from all of this year, because a Roth IRA only allows you to contribute 6,000 every single fiscal year. So looking at my funding history right here, you can see that for 2019, because this account I started September 9th of 2019. So I just contributed 1930 up to this point. I was able to keep contributing for this year, but I wanted to start a fresh year with being able to get to the full 6,000, and it looks like I'll be able to do that. I did have a contingency plan if I wasn't able to do so, because I do have my Robinhood account, which is a growth account, and I do have the individual account with M1 Finance. So I'm at 4,000 for this year with the contribution. So it looks like I'm going to make it, which is the goal. If you don't have a 401k with your job, and you only have an IRA or an individual account within a brokerage, whether it's Webull or Robinhood or Stash or Acorns or Betterment, or even Fidelity or Schwab, because they do fractional shares now, and they also don't charge commissions. There's no fees with them as well. Start a Roth IRA. The tax advantages: you don't pay taxes when you pull it out once you get to that age, 59 and a half or so. And so there's the tax advantages with the Roth IRA is really beneficial. And at one time it was capped at 5,000, then it was capped at 5,500. So maybe next year it'll be capped at 6,500. So you'll be able to contribute even more to it. So let's look and see how the portfolio did for the day. The week was volatile. I mean, it was Tuesday was the only day that was in the green, basically. The Nasdaq ended in the red today by a little bit, and the S&P 500 and the Dow were a little bit in the green today. But for the week in general, it was in the red. And last week was volatile. There are speculation reasonings. They say that it's almost every election year, presidential election year, that the stock market will be volatile, and we are very close to the presidential election and coming up in November. So, you expect that volatility, and some people are saying, well, this is just a nice correction. I see it as a good buying opportunity. So my other videos, I titled them Stocks on Sale, and I even talked about in my other videos, it's a good buying time because everything is on sale. So if there's something that you were looking at that you didn't want to buy into it at that price, even with fractional shares, it was a good time to buy to start or build a position in that certain company. So, and I did that in March. I wasn't contributing as much, but once I realized I was going to be able to go back to my regular schedule, my weekly regular contributions into M1 Finance, then everything was still low, so I just started building my position with holdings that I already had, because these are dividend companies. So yes, I am getting capital gains, but M1 Finance for me is all dividend growth. So my blue chip slice here, green today, REITs green today, technology red today. Apple has just had a really, really bad week, but really good buying time if you want to get into Apple. Yes, they have the stock split, but and yes, there's fractional shares, but you still want your dollar cost average to be as low as possible. And then my ETFs here ended in the green as well too for today. If we look at my individual holdings and my blue chips, all of them for the day were in the green. Not the case yesterday. Yesterday, all of them were in the red. So, with the exception of McDonald's was the only one that was in the green yesterday. So, that is nice to see. And my real estate investment trust for today. Okay, so the ETF was in the red, which this has taken a long time to recover. And that's some of the reason why I don't have ETFs in my other accounts, because ETFs sometimes take a little bit longer to recover than the individual companies. So Realty Income in the red today as well too. But American Tower, Digital Realty Trust, and Equinix ended the day in the green. And so I did receive a dividend here. You can see this 51 cents is from Microsoft, who I own in my tech slice. I don't own a lot of Microsoft, only one share, so I only got the 51 cents from them. Ideally, I would own a lot more of Microsoft. Same with Apple, I would own a lot more with them, but I'm trying to be diversified. I'm trying to be really diversified. I'm 44, I'm going to be 45 in December, so I'm not swinging for the fences. If I was 30 even, or 31, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive, but I do believe in dividend growth, and that's my strategy with the barbell approach. So I have growth in my my Robinhood account, and I don't contribute a lot to Robinhood because I'm looking more for capital gains there, not dividends there. Where M1 Finance, I'm looking for more dividends. So even Webull, I have a little bit of Webull. Um, you know, there's a dividend company, a bank, ticker symbol PBCT, that I continue to contribute to dollar cost average down with that one. So I'm at a good spot with them. I'm under $11, and I own 11 shares. And they've been increasing their dividend for 25 years. So, and the majority of my companies, that's what it is. Probably 80% of, or 85% and up of my companies are dividend growth companies, because that's my goal. That's what I'm planning to do. So check my other videos that I'm going to have coming out here. I'm going to show my dividend tracker of how much I'm getting paid annually, how much it has grown over the week because of the buys and sells that I've done. Also look at my other videos too if you're interested to see what they have done. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do appreciate it. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe and healthy out there. Mahalo and aloha.